Hi, I'm JP. You're watching the Coffee Channel, and I've got a question for you. Would you drink milk from a horse?
God, my hands are shaking.
See what you think. I approached this topic with a bit of trepidation. I've tried all sorts of different milks over the years. In fact, we even tried goat's milk in coffee, and it was absolutely disgusting. Not because goat's milk is disgusting in itself, but just that it doesn't work with coffee. We're looking at different types of milk. We're looking at vegan milk, almond milk, and we did a little video on that. You can look at that on YouTube. It's in our account. Check it out. But horse milk is a different matter. It's very rare in this country, but you can actually drink it. In other countries around the world, it's drunk more regularly than it is in this country. It's been around since Greek times. Cleopatra even had it as part of her skincare routine, donkey milk, bathing in it. But can you make good coffee with it? Well, I don't know. But the interesting thing is we found that there is actually a farm very close to us, near to Bath, that specialises in producing horse milk. And it does it in a very ethical way. Now, we started looking into this and we thought, well, actually, there might be some benefits to this. Horses have just one stomach, unlike cows, so the milk they produce is much more like human breast milk. It has the same sort of nutrients in it. It's very high in vitamins A, B and D. It's lower in fat, considerably lower in fat than cow's milk, and it has lots of things in it that are proven to be good for your skin. And there are independent studies in academic journals that kind of corroborate this. So if you've got eczema and things like that, it could be good for you. But will it make good coffee? Well, we're going to head down to the farm now. Little drive away, about 20 minutes. Pick up some milk, have a chat with the farmer, and then we're going to bring it back here and see if we can make it work with some coffee.
Okay, so we'll talk a bit about the background to this.
Yeah.
What led you to produce the mare's milk?
It's a short story and a long story,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
Jonathan. What happened was that my daughter had serious eczema,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine had exported some horses to Belgium. He was a horse dealer, and exported some horses to Belgium. When he was over there, they said to him that the mare's milk was very, very good for eczema, and very,
Okay.
very good for your gut flora.
Yeah.
So this is really your first brain, and this is your second
Yeah.
brain. So many surgeons and specialists and doctors say if you look after this correctly,
Yeah.
then this works properly.
Yeah, yeah.
We all hear more
Yeah,
and more
exactly,
about that
yeah.
psychology and at the moment. So when he was over there, he rang me up. He said they've got some cream over here for eczema made from horse's milk.
Oh, right.
And I said, oh, yeah, and I took it with a bit of pinch of salt. And
Yeah.
the following week, I got on a ferry and went over with a friend of mine and did some more research on it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they'd had the cream there, and they were milking the horses.
Right.
I came back and did quite a lot of research on it. Mares have got a single stomach, the same as humans.
Right, not like a cow,
So
yeah.
unlike a cow,
Yeah.
a goat, or a sheep.
Okay,
So
yeah.
all the enzymes and all the proteins are a lot different.
Right.
So it enables our body to be able to utilise them a lot better.
Yeah.
Even to the degree that the milk is often used, mare's milk is often used as a replacement for mother's breast milk for children.
Right. Okay.
So that was
Yeah.
really that was the start of where we are now.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, have you heard of anyone using it for coffee at all? Has there been any?
There's been a few people tried it with coffee,
Yeah.
but it's not an easy thing to put into coffee. I'll tell you
Right.
why. It's very low in fat. It's 100% in fat. Some of it is from 0.4 to 0.5 in the fat level.
Okay.
So it's quite low in fat. Try to heat it up. Not too much. It wants
Yeah,
to
you
be
want-
sort of warm rather than
Yeah.
boiled.
Yeah. You want to not put so much air
Just-
into it. Yeah.
not too much air into
Yeah.
it. And I think you'll find that would be a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. In terms of how it's not sort of a major thing, is it? It's not like an industrial sort of process, because I know you only have it at certain points of the year.
I've got a friend in France. She's got about 120, 140 horses that,
Yeah.
that she milks, and
Yeah.
but the French are slightly different to the English and the Dutch and the Belgians. I've got some friends there that milk horses, but they're slightly different. The English are very difficult to change. You're quite entrepreneurial. You've come down with the idea of sort of saying, "I'll try the milk and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what Frank's got to say."
Yeah.
And so you've got an open mind on it.
Yeah.
But people have got this very, not negative, but we're quite difficult to change. And what you've got to remember is the dairy industry has had billions spent on it. That the old saying, drink a pint a day and keep the doctor away and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Dairy milk chocolate has spent a fortune having dairy out there.
Yeah, exactly.
What's happened really with the mare's milk now is that I'm trying to get that message across. So why I was very keen for you to come down and have a chat was the fact that it's another message. It's somebody else pushing that message out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's really a health drink. So you would drink the small bottle, 250 ml. 250 ml a day. So each morning I drink one of these.
Right, okay.
And I don't do anything else for that hour. So I wouldn't drink, I don't do anything else. I obviously do things, but I don't try not to have any other food or drink for that hour to let that go into my body.
Okay. So it's obviously you're a low scale producer, aren't you?
We've got 20 mares in the herd and we can produce, they produce between 5 and 10 litres a day.
Yeah.
But remember, it's unlike a cow. So the foals stay with the mares all the way through.
Okay.
So we don't have any milk for the first 2 months.
Right.
All that milk goes to the foal.
Yeah.
And then the foals are then kept with the mares, so they can talk over the gate.
Right.
We then have the milk from 7 in the morning till 5 at night.
Oh, I see.
And then the mares go back with the foals, and they have the milk from 5 at night till 7 in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, that was very interesting, actually.
Thank you
Thanks. It's really interesting talking to you. Yeah, thank you.
So here it is. The mare's milk. One thing we learnt from our meeting with Frank is that it's actually quite expensive. So I don't think you could see this as being a replacement for milk. It's much more of a health related thing. So it's a bit more of something you might drink every other day or a couple of times a week. More like you would like a probiotic shot to help your skin, maybe to help your digestive system, that sort of thing. It's not really something that you'd use as a replacement for milk like you would if you're going for almond milk as a vegan replacement for cow's milk. But that's not why we're here. We're going to see if this is actually better than normal milk. When I tasted it from the farm, it was definitely a little bit thinner than normal milk because the fat content is lower. But it did taste sweeter. Now that sweetness may actually be better in coffee. There's been lots of talk in barista championships over the years of using different sorts of milk or cows that have been fed specific diets to produce a sort of milk that will make the milk course of their competition actually taste better, so make their milk drink taste better. I seem to remember Matt Perger a few years ago used milk from a cow that was fed with a specific diet, and that then the milk worked with his coffee to create a particular taste. Maybe horse's milk could work in that way. Let's try it out. So we're going to use a Colombian espresso from our local roaster Roundhill. Going to texture a bit of milk, see if I can make a decent flat white, see what it tastes like. So I've textured the milk. It textured better than expected, actually. Better than coconut barista milk, actually. Not being able to get really decent latte art in it. I suspect I probably didn't put quite enough air in. I was a bit sort of nervous of actually getting the right amount of air into it. I didn't want to put too much air in. I didn't want to put too little. So I ended up putting a little bit too little, and it didn't pour that well because it is quite a thin milk. But the texture is okay, actually. It's not bad at all. My technique has been a bit poor on this, I guess. But if you did it a bit more, you get used to it. Although I used most of a 250ml bottle to make that one flat white. So there's probably about £4 worth of milk in this flat white, which makes it exceptionally expensive. Okay, so I've tried this before. I'm approaching this with a little bit of trepidation, but let's see what it's like, because some milks taste okay on their own and then you put them in coffee and it's like, oh, the results aren't great. I'm not an amazingly big fan of milk products. I'm not really fussy about many things, but milk is not something that I actually like that much. I like it in things, but I don't like it too much on its own. So I'm slightly nervous about this, but let's give it a go and see what it's like. Okay, so, right, it's much like cow's milk, but it's so much sweeter. It's quite a bit thinner. It's interesting. Let's try it again. So the texture isn't quite right, but you can definitely taste quite a lot of sweetness in there. It's sweetening the coffee, but it doesn't feel like it's integrating amazingly well. It feels like there's kind of a coffee flavour in there, then this kind of sweetness in the background. It doesn't feel like two flavours are that integrated well. That might be because my texturing hasn't integrated the milk, the steamed and foam milk, quite as well as maybe it could have had a bit more practice. Let's try again. Okay, so it's actually okay. It's not unpleasant at all. It's just lacking a bit in texture that you'd expect from a flat white. So it's a quite weird experience because you're expecting it to be a bit thicker because it seems like it'll be thicker and it's quite sweet. But the coffee as a whole is kind of thinner, so it doesn't have that same kind of effect on your tongue. I suppose it's a bit like skimmed milk, but it's got a lot more sweetness to it than skimmed cow's milk. I think it might work best if we mix a bit of it with some cow's milk, some full fat cow's milk. Give that a go, and that might give you some of the health benefits of the mare's milk, but with some of the thickness that you get from a full fat cow's milk, and might make a better texture. So we'll try that next. So we had a bit of a think about this while we were making this second coffee with a mix of cow's milk and horse milk. And we thought maybe it's the case that the lack of fat in the horse milk doesn't carry the flavour so well. So maybe it's not the texture per se, it's actually the fat content. So hopefully, with a mixture of whole milk from cow's milk, 50-50 with the horse milk, we should get something that resembles a normal flat white, but with a little bit of more sweetness from the horse milk. So it's textured quite well, actually. Not my best latte art, but it's okay. It's come out pretty decently. Let's give it a taste. Okay, actually that is pretty good. That to me tastes like a very nice sweet flat white. So I've had this coffee earlier this morning with normal cow's milk, so I know what it tastes like as a flat white, and this tastes a little bit sweeter, but it's still got a decent texture. In fact, I go as far as say that's actually an improvement on a coffee made solely with cow's milk. I think that the extra sweetness improves the taste of the coffee. So the mix of it is actually better. And I think we need the fat to carry the flavour. So we need some of that extra fat from the cow's milk, or you could substitute in an oat milk maybe, or a coconut milk, or barista milk of that kind. You could do that 50-50 because horse milk is better for people who are lactose intolerant. So if you have 50% of it, you get some of the health benefits of drinking horse milk, which is, I think, actually better in terms of health benefits than an oat milk. But then you could replace some of the fat with the fat that comes in a barista oat milk, or a barista almond milk, or a barista coconut milk. So you get the best of both worlds there. Now, the only downside really is it's pretty pricey because it's something of a cottage industry, so it's not like farming, and that's a good thing in many ways because it means it's much more ethical. It's not an industrial process where they're taking calves away from their mothers like they do with cows. They're taking the foals away. They're not doing that. The foal stays with the mother, and the foals aren't sent off to the slaughterhouse. They're horses. They're used by people afterwards for riding, all that sort of stuff. So it's not the same as your traditional dairy milk in terms of the ethical dimension. Obviously, if it started getting really popular and people were drinking it and the price came down, then it might be heading towards an industrial type of farming, but I can't really see that happening. So the downside is it is expensive, but the upside is there's no sort of animal welfare concerns. Having spoken with Frank, the animals are treated very well. There's no real downside to it in that respect. And actually, it does taste really good. So the only really real downside is that it is extremely expensive. But then maybe you treat it as something that you have as a health drink. So you don't have it every day. You maybe have it every other day. You add it to your coffee. You can make it taste nice with a bit of milk. It will texture really well in your coffee if you mix it with full-fat milk from a cow. And then you get some of the health benefits, some of the vitamins that you don't get, and some of the nutrients that you don't get from cow's milk. And you don't have so many problems with digesting it, but you're not using it all the time. So as Frank mentioned in our little chat with him, the British are sometimes a little bit reticent when it comes to new things, particularly things like milk made with non-traditional animals. You don't see much sheep or used milk in this country, really. A little bit, but not that much. I thought we'd get a second opinion, so I've got Paula from our office downstairs. I'm going to make her a flat white with wholly horse's milk now. So I'm just going to pour it and hand it over. Now, she is approaching this with some trepidation, I think, but
Definitely.
actually, second time round with this, I've actually textured it a little bit better than the first one. There you go, Paula. There is a full horse milk. Okay,
Oh God, my hands are shaking.
see what you think.
It's not
So-
actually. It's not bad, is it? It's sweet, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not disgusting, which is what I thought it would be.
Okay.
Cheers. Very nice, thank you.
So, anyone had any experience with other types of milk? Have you tried mare's milk? Have you tried donkey milk? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. It'd be interested to hear from you and what your thoughts are on this particular product. See you next time.